sound. Ringo TV. Ringo TV. Ringo TV.
Welcome to another edition of Black Male Advice TV. I'm your host, Ringo. Make sure you click the like button, subscribe, and support the content. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Black Male Advice TV. I am your host, Ringo. We are back again with another excellent topic of discussion. Shout out to everybody out there in the YouTube community. Make sure you click that like button and post your comments and share my videos with everybody. Today, what we're going to pretty much talk about is another interesting topic of discussion. I titled this topic, Single Mothers Have Self-Worth Too. Single mothers have self-worth too. In the culture in which we live, single mothers have been getting a bad rap. I want to set the standards today. And I want to make you understand that most single mothers, you have self-worth too. And I think that a lot of men need to recognize that you're not this type of woman who is not of any value. This type of sister who we could just walk over and say, well, she ain't worth nothing. Let's just use her for sex and discard her because she ain't important. As a single mother, you have self-worth too. You should have self-worth. You should have standards. You should have morals, you should have ethics, so that when you make decisions, it is pretty much to help you become the best possible mother, not only for your children, but for any future children you may actually have. Not only the children, but the decisions that you make is also going to help you in terms of a relationship with a potential man. Because once you have self-worth, you recognize that there are just certain things you shouldn't tolerate. There's certain things you shouldn't be involved in. There's certain men you should just avoid because they're no good. A woman of self-worth is not going to allow herself to be used by a man. A woman of self-worth is not going to put herself in a compromising situation where a man is going to be abusive to her and her children end up seeing that. You see, there are women that may have been through abuse and they're not going to go back down that road because they have self-worth and they recognize that with the standards they have, with the morals they have to present themselves in a way to attract the best possible man. Now, the best possible man comes in all shapes and sizes. A lot of times as a single mother, you may never know what type of man is right for you, but in your attempt of being excellent, to have standards, to recognize your self-worth, it will line up with the universe and you will know what kind of man is really right for you and what kind of men to avoid like never before. Because let's be real, sisters, there are a lot of men out here that just want to get with you for sex. But you as a sister must recognize that as a single mother, you are responsible. You're not a sister that have no children who have time to play games. At this point in your life, you got to recognize that not only are you supposed to make better decisions, but you're supposed to be mature, you're supposed to be seasoned, and you're supposed to be wise. And I think if anything, that is what makes you an excellent woman. Yes, you have children. Yes, the world is trying to condemn you and make you out to be a terrible person. But at the end of the day, you have more value than most of these women that actually have no children. And I recognize that. I recognize that because I'm a father. I have a wife. I actually know what a mother does. So a single mother is no different than a woman who is a wife. It just so happens you may not have a husband, but at the end of the day, you still have to take care of children. And being that I have children, I know what kind of work you do. And I know that a woman's work is never done. And I recognize that the amount of time it takes to care for your children, it requires you to go through a lot of sacrifices, sacrificing your own happiness, sacrificing your own fun, sacrificing relationship time. Sometimes you're unable to actually build a relationship because you're so focused on your family, which is another sign of a woman who is very active with her family. Now, also, as a woman of self-worth, you have to provide yourself with the time. You need mommy time. You need time to actually unwind. You need a possible relationship. But at the end of the day, as a woman of self-worth, you must recognize how to make the best decisions when it comes to a man. Is the man the type of brother that has quality? Is it the type of man that wants to be with you because he wants to be with you? That's a great, important fact. The man must show signs of wanting to be with you because you're worthy. It's not like, oh, you're a single mom, let's just write you off, nobody should deal with you, you're done. No, that's not the case. Every woman who is a single mother have the potential of still being with a man and still having a successful unit. But the point is, the game has changed. It's a different play field now. So as a single mother, you got to know how to move within these streets. You got to know how to coexist in a world that is designed to condemn you and leave you single and heartbroken, and instead look at the bigger picture and recognize your value as a woman and say, you know what? I'm better than that. I'm not going to degrade myself. I'm not going to prostitute myself. I'm not going to put myself out there, to allow men to just use me and discard me. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make quality decisions. I'm going to make better decisions, not only for myself, not only for my physical body, not only for my health, but also for my children. I'm going to do this and I'm going to be excellent at it. And speaking of health, as a woman of worthiness and a woman of value, as a woman of self-worth, you must value your health. And being a single mother, it's important that you recognize that and have standards, and that men actually live by those standards when they come around you. Some brothers may find it difficult. Some may actually learn as they go. But at the end of the day, it's your standards that will actually attract the man that is right for you. It will actually make men literally change their ways because of your standards. If you had no standards, certain men would not even care, because if it was up to them to just do whatever they want, they would do what they want. But because you're a woman of standards, and because you're a woman who have value and self-worth, your standards and the way you conduct yourself actually have the power to change a man's heart, to change a man's mind, to make a man realize his own faults. And that's power. And when you have standards and self-worth, and you operate within your own feminism and your own feminine ways, you will understand that through your feminine energy, you will attract the type of man not only who is right for you, but who value and respect the strength that you actually bring to the table. Because a lot of times we focus as men primarily on sex, the sensual side of a woman, and we really don't pay attention to the actual woman's spirit and what she brings us. A lot of times, brothers, a single mother, regardless of how you feel, can bring you happiness, peace, joy, love, companionship, you name it. Now, that's not to say a woman with no children can't, or that, they're no good, or whatever the case is. The point of the matter is, we need to have more positive videos about single mothers. We need to have more video content that actually shows the better side of the single mother, that they're not these type of women that you should just avoid. Because some of you brothers, you may be one phone call away from a woman that could actually change your whole life. Why? Because she actually have the heart of gold to literally love you, cater to you, and open up her heart to you in a way that you would never know if you only allowed her to recognize her true potential and strength. And sometimes just acknowledging a woman and just acknowledging who she is and what she can do for the world can make the difference in making a woman feel good about who she is, to know that, you know what, I worked hard, I did all this, and yet I recognize that there are people out there that truly believe that there are women out here that are single mothers that bring a lot of value to the table. So there are single mothers out here that have self-worth, and I want all you brothers to recognize that single mothers have self-worth too. And we need to respect that. We need to recognize that they have self-worth too. They respect themselves enough not to go out there thotting. There's a lot of single mothers that don't live the thought life. A lot of times we have this misconception that every single mother is out there sleeping around. That's not the case. They're too busy raising their children. They're too busy dealing with their household duties. They're too busy working at a 9 to 5. In most cases, they're so busy that they don't even have time for an actual relationship. They want a relationship. They would love to have one. But due to the amount of things that they're doing, it may not be permissible for them to have said relationship at this point in time. Maybe down the road, they can possibly have that relationship, or maybe they can pretty much multitask, have the relationship by having the understanding of a man who recognizes, you know what? I recognize what your situation is. I recognize what you're doing right now. So look, this is what I'm going to do. You focus on what you're doing. I'll be right here. At the end of the day, when you get yourself together, when you have that free time, you holla at me. But at the end of the day, I'm really trying to kick it with you. I'm really trying to build with you. I understand you got something that you're dealing with right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fall back. I'm not going to be too aggressive. I'm not going to be all up under you. I'm going to let you go handle your business like a woman. And I'm going to be right here and respect your situation. And you know what? At the end of the day, when you're ready to holler at a brother, or if you're ready to pretty much hang out or whatever the case is, I'm here for you. Now, that's a situation where a brother understands where a woman is and how to work with her. Because I'm going to tell you something, brothers. Every woman out there is not the same. And a lot of times, single mothers, they have a lot of responsibility. And sometimes as men, again, we get thirsty. And all we focusing on is our thirst. And we're not focusing on the end result of what a woman is trying to accomplish in her life. And sometimes she just need that time to just gather herself and get herself together. She'll have a lot of time to play. She'll have a lot of time to have fun. But you have to know how to work with a single mom. You have to know how to work with a single mother and recognize she has self-worth too. She's not a thought. She's not a hoe. All of these particular women are not doing these things. You know what I mean? Most single mothers are on their 9 to 5 grind, starting businesses, taking care of their children, and just being responsible. So as men, we have to recognize that self-worth, and we have to respect a woman's body. We have to respect a woman's choices. Sometimes we make choices, sometimes we do things, and it may not be beneficial to us because, you know, we did some things wrong. But as we grow, we make choices and we better and we improve. Practice makes perfect. Sometimes we make mistakes and we learn from them. The greatest thing we can do is that when we go through things, we learn from them. A lot of single mothers also have to understand their self-worth in relationships. I talk about polygyny all the time. I talk about a man having multiple wives all the time. And a lot of you brothers, especially brothers in truth, you have to be mindful of something. I want to talk about it. There are a lot of sisters out there that you might get with and you want to practice polygyny, you want to have multiple wives. And there are a lot of sisters that may be interested in polygyny. They may be trying to figure it out. And for whatever reason, a lot of times single mothers, because of the dynamic that they have, because of the situation they have, they would like to be with you. They would like to have that bond with you. But for whatever reason, due to the circumstances, it may seem and appear as if though you're on two different paths. And a lot of times as brothers, we want these women to just come with us, be our wives, settle down, and let's just flow with the ocean. And a lot of times it's just not that simple. We have to recognize that single mothers need time to literally bond with us, to grow with us, and we have to have that understanding. Sometimes as men, we cause a lot of problems because we don't recognize where the woman is mentally, where she is spiritually, and do she have the full understanding on exactly how things would be. Sometimes a woman don't have the whole blueprint out on how things would be, and it would make her feel like maybe this is not the right decision for me to do right now. So we have to recognize how to work with the single mother and recognize her worth. Because when you think about polygyny and you bring in a woman into a polygynous union, right? We have to look at several factors. We have to look at intimacy between you and your wives, intimacy between you and the new wife who's coming in. A lot of times, and we all know, sexual pleasure is always best when it's natural, when it's raw, when it's just, when everything is pure and so forth. But at the end of the day, when you bring in another woman into a polygynous union, we also have to be considerate when it comes to the health of these said women. We have to be considerate to sexually transmitted diseases, STIs, all of these things that we don't want to talk about, that may be a little difficult to talk about. We have to really consider those things. A woman have self-worth is going to protect herself. I, for one, have made a lot of mistakes in my past. I will admit that. At the end of the day, I made videos and I talked about how, an issue with condoms and, I don't like wearing condoms. And it's true, because when you don't wear a condom, obviously things are better. But at the end of the day, you still have to respect a woman's body, and you still have to respect the union in which you have not only with your wife, your family, and so forth, but when you bring in another wife, you just can't be you can't have a selfish mindset is all I'm saying. You can't be selfish, and you can't just be thinking about your own personal pleasure and your own selfishness. That's not good. So as men, I think that in a polygynous union, especially if you're building with a single mother in a polygynous union, I think the best course of action is that you actually protect yourself in those regards, because a woman of self-worth is going to protect herself. She's protecting herself not only to protect herself, but also to protect you, because you never know what the situation is. And I encourage all women that get involved in any sort of polygynous union that you protect yourself for a time being, whether that mean the man is using a condom and he's sexually intimate with you. It might not feel the way you would want it to be, but at the end of the day, you're protecting yourself because you just now got involved into this union. So we don't know how everybody is. Everybody's personal hygiene needs to be on point. So as you move into this dynamic, it's very important for people to understand their health, to understand their bodies, especially women, especially when it comes to bacteria vaginosis. It's a particular infection where women have issues with odors and other problems and poor pH levels of the vagina, because a lot of times women don't know how to properly clean themselves. They're using all these different soaps, all these different chemicals, fragrances, perfumes. All of that stuff can throw your pH balance off, and before you know it, your body is having a reaction. You're getting all these infections, and the last thing you want to do is cause another woman in a polygynous union to be infected with some sort of issue because you neglected to take care of yourself. And a lot of times that be a lot of fears with women. One of the greatest fears, I believe, with women, especially when entering or being involved in a polygynous union, is STIs or sexually transmitted diseases, or whatever the case is. It be on our minds. So I think that a woman who is worthy, or women who have self-worth, who understand her body and understand her value, should protect herself under those circumstances. And as a man, you shouldn't be pretty much focused on your own self. I think that under those circumstances, you have to be very considerate and recognize that it's not just about you, brothers, but it's also about this woman's safety. And I feel that if we as men are more considerate with the well-being of the woman, rather than just thinking about ourselves, I think that we will open up more of a door where a woman will be more pleased to know that you actually understand and recognize the beauty of her self-worth and her value, and how she values herself enough to protect herself, not because she feel something's wrong with you, or she don't trust you, or it's not that. It's that you just now got into a union. So it's smart to protect yourself. It's just like when you're driving in your car, it's good to put your seatbelt on. I may know how to drive, but let me wear my seatbelt. Let me wear my seatbelt. When we stop the car, okay, we could take the seatbelt off, but let me wear it. It makes me feel safe, because this may be your first encounter, your second encounter, your third encounter. Under a polygynous union, if you're intimate with this woman, you may have several encounters and you may have to use a condom. Are you prepared to do that? Because it's necessary not only for the protection of the women, but also the protection of the man, and to build the trust and to make sure that everybody is safe. And then actually, after a while, when things sort themselves out and every party in this polygynous union recognize how to properly take care of the body, how to properly take care of your vagina, how to properly make sure that your pH balance is up to par, eating the proper foods, cleansing the body the way it needs to be, then under those circumstances, you may now be at liberty to have sexual relations with your wives without any condom or any protection. Because at this point, everybody is in unison and we recognize how we ought to flow. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that under those circumstances, it takes a lot of conversations, a lot of maturity to pretty much understand that. And to be quite frank, brothers, I truly believe that women bring a sense of value to the table when it comes to making you stronger as a man. I believe that as brothers, especially in a polygynous union, that when you interact with women, a lot of times we learn how to be stronger men because we recognize who we are, we recognize how most women think, and through exercising conversations and having that dialogue, we learn how to make better choices as men. So this is not just about single mothers making better choices, but this is also about us men making better choices in a polygynous union. So when you recognize the self-worth of a woman and you recognize the value of a woman, you have to respect her enough to make sure that she's good and you take care of her. Because if you take care of a woman good, she's going to take care of you. So it's my hope that throughout these videos, people recognize the self-worth of a single mother. She brings value to the table. She brings a whole lot of value to the table. The problem is society condemns her because they cannot have their way with her. She refused to allow the average man to just use her and abuse her. She refused that because she has standards. So with that said, I'm going to sign off. I hope everybody enjoyed the video, and I hope all of those who may be interested in polygyny to continue to learn more and understand more, because I believe truthfully that most women do want to accept and be a part of a polygynous union, but I think that a lot of times us brothers, we are selfish and we don't really recognize what women are going through to make them fully understand where we are and what we truly want. And I think that the more we communicate and be open to listening to what females are actually needing and desiring, that we can actually meet a common ground, and more women will be open to polygyny and recognizing where they fit in. Because in this day and culture, I truly believe that a lot of us, especially men and women, that we really need to build a lot more polygynous unions, because it will benefit us all. And it would be a way more happier family because families have joined together. And although other people may be against men dealing with single mothers, I'm not one of those guys. I believe that a lot of single mothers out there are beautiful people, people that actually have value, people that actually bring value to the table. And fortunately for you, because of your self-worth, because of your heart, and because of who you are, it is evident that the spirits of most women are intact and have that beauty inside. And I think that a lot of us brothers, we stifle most women from exhibiting their true nature and true ability because we are influenced by various voices on social media that condemns the idea of being around a single mother, that we never give a single mother the opportunity to express her true potential of womanhood and her feminine energy. And I believe that once we open that door of conversation and having that dialogue and begin to be transparent in our thoughts, that we will begin to see the beauty of what this woman is truly like and what she brings to the table. So with that said, I'm going to sign out. I have to get up in the morning for work. This is Black Male Advice TV, the only channel on YouTube bringing you the truth, 100% raw and uncut. I'm out, y'all. Peace.
If you like our content, consider supporting via Cash App at $Ringo TV Raw. Become a patron on patreon.com for exclusive video content not shown on YouTube. You could also support through PayPal at paypal.me/Ringo TV Raw. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified of new content. Follow me on Instagram at RingoTV_Raw.
This is Black Male Advice TV, the only channel on YouTube bringing you the truth 100% raw and uncut. I'm out.